So coronavirus is coming to an end and the world is coming to the end of 2021. I mean, we're all sort of hanging out for 2022 to come about. On today's show, we're going to be talking about what I consider to be the new order. Now, this is not a conspiracy group or anything religious or anything, but it's just a new way of seeing order in our lives. So we're going to be exploring that and actually just picking the brain of our special guest. Hi, welcome to the Secret Men's Business Podcast. This is Joey Buzzertle, and I'm very excited to have my favorite guest back on today's show. So let's welcome to the show, Greg Riley. Hi, Greg, how are you?
G'day, Joey. How you going?
You're the first person to be like a consecutive guest. You win the Star Award.
You're my favorite interviewer. There you go. So it just flows. It's just really good. So.
Well, you're the only person that I can talk about these topics without feeling uncomfortable. I think that's the point. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like other people. I don't think they want to talk about that sort of stuff. They want to sort of play safe. So I know that you're honest. So the New Order. Did you love New Order when you were a teenager?
Blue Monday. New Order.
Yes. I knew you would have.
Yes. I remember going through. This is how bad it was. When Brashes used to be around. That's showing my age.
And Allen's.
We used to have Brashes. And they had New Order, but they'd remixed it into a dance song. And I listened to it and was going past Brashes and it was playing as a single. I went there and bought it and it was off the chart. So that's. So there was.
Yeah, I still love that. It was a double CD. I remember that.
Yeah.
The New Order album.
Yeah.
So let's. I know this is a men's podcast, but I think we're going to talk in fluidity. We're going to talk about everyone, right? So let's start off with, what do you feel is the climate at the moment with change versus pausing? There's a pause going on for some people and there's change going on. Like on the weekend, there was 500,000 people protesting. There are people that want to vax, people that don't want to vax. There are people that are adapting, people that aren't. So there's a lot going on and we're coming to the end of it all. So where do you feel that I are sitting in regards to that shift?
That's a big question. I'm going to answer it in a couple of parts.
Perfect.
Right? So you got the people on the side that are very much pro-vaccination. They got people on the other side which are anti-vax, pro-choice, and all that kind of stuff, right? And as I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day, is that neither people are right or wrong. It's just personal choice. But what's happening is that on both sides, it's anything that you don't that goes against what you believe that the other person is wrong, and especially the hard pro-choice conspiracy, use that word loosely, thing. They're really on the fact that, well, if you have the vaccination, you're part of the problem. You're supporting all this stuff and everything, and it's they're creating separation. And even the people who are meant to be happy in that they're being healthy in that, they're quite angry as well too, because all these people
and we don't have to necessarily actually label the vaccine. I think what you said before is really, really beautiful, because I don't think it's about the problem. I think it's just about the fact that the people are fighting each other because they want to be right.
Yeah.
So it's sort of I feel like it's like remember that movie The Blob?
Yeah.
I feel like that the Blob it's happening now and affecting different things. So what do you feel is causing people to pause?
I think COVID's been a great wake up for people. And what I'm seeing more of a generalized, and we'll go from a generalized perspective, which I was saying before, is that most people now are realizing that the way that they lived life before was not working. COVID's been a great awakening on many, many levels for people, that they realize that how they were living life before and basing their life on success was completely wrong, and the system was completely broken. Yeah, and you look at the stuff from the work from home thing, where Melbourne CBD in Sydney will never, ever, ever be the same ever again. And purely because, look, I live out in Beaconsfield, out in the sticks, and to get from me into the city would be a 3-hour round trip time, and I've got 3 kids under 6, right? So if I was leaving to go into the city, I would leave at 6:20, the kids still be in bed. I come home at 7:15, the kids were bathing, going to bed. Now, as you and I know, we see those kids as adults because their parents were never there, but they worked their ass off to try and get something. And what COVID's gone is that we're not doing that ever again. And
Yeah.
you've seen this, what they call it, the great resignation through the US, where all these people are just resigning from jobs because they've realized that that's not the lifestyle they want to live anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pausing, I think, for people is just it's the reassessing of what has COVID shown me about my lifestyle prior to that I need to somehow look at now. Even people that they are taking their health more seriously, because there's been this thing where, well, if I'm a bit overweight or I've got respiratory issues or I've ignored my health for a number of different years, it's saying to people, look at your health and look at the way you're living life. So there's been a great wake up for people that to really look inward rather than outward. So I think there's been a lot of positive out of what's happened.
Yeah. So I totally agree because I feel like I've done that, but I am going to question you about the other side. There seems to be also an abundant amount of people that are tackling wealth, right? And people that are becoming like wealth is like a big thing now. Like if the word billionaire and millionaire doesn't get thrown around at least 50 times a day, so then how do you know? I mean, I'm going to talk about you, I guess, because you're the one I'm talking to. Is that how do you navigate that 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 sort of vibration, right? Because we're all trying to sort of pause and reflect and learn. There's nothing wrong with money, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's this energy that's being thrown in, so that could cause confusion. How do you how do you navigate it, or what do you suggest for people so they don't get caught up in that bubble of especially with young people, they want to be rich and they want to be rich now and they want to do it easy without work and sweat.
Yeah. And look, it's different because it's all about the instant gratification. Look at Instagram and what they're being fed these days about a lot of kids lack resilience because as soon as something goes bad, or we've got parents who are, you know, they've been tiger parents or helicopter parents where they've just protected their kids all the way through. And when they get out of school and they go to get a job, their mum and dad aren't there to actually yell at the teachers. So there's again, it comes back to society and what we're teaching our children about what really is success and what is really is wealth. And wealth is, as you know, is not financial, but it is a lot of these days, given out that wealth, leads to success, and and that's not necessarily true. It's actually wrong in a lot of cases. A lot of very wealthy people, aka James Packer, aren't very happy at all. so,
Yes.
so
And then I guess the other people are making money and they're not really doing much. And I think people don't realize that they're only seeing us. It probably would be 0.1%
yeah,
of people that are billionaires.
yeah.
Like and they think that they can do it. And I think that that's the thing is that when you were talking about the resignation, the Great Resignation, are people doing that at a younger age, or is it all ages?
No, it's more of the middle class, older age. These are the ones
Right.
in our age bracket, mate. The
Like
ones,
okay.
yeah, the old dudes, right? So you
Yeah.
look in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, mainly around that 40, 50 age where, you're brought up in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and you had this, you're going to beat it, but you sort of stuck around the job, you stayed there for loyalty and that, but you did what you had to do. And it's sort of getting to the stage now where I was sort of fed a lie, the fact of, what are we trying to do? Because we're more connected, we've got more resources, we've got more health products, we've got everything in so much more abundance, yet we're more addicted, we're more depressed, we're more anxious, got more PTSD, we've got more mental disorders than ever before, yet we've got more resources than ever before, right?
Yeah.
So
Like, do you agree? I mean, I look at you and think that you're quite happy with your job work, right? So I would imagine, I'm guessing here, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong, that
yeah,
you don't feel like you're working. You feel like you're living. You're doing your purpose. Do you feel like that's the truth, or do you?
uh,
Because I feel like I don't. I feel like the
um,
more I simplify it, the more I enjoy my work without having to feel like that pressure to do what those people that are resigning are
um,
doing.
look, it's and this is me being transparent as I am is that back when I was back in 2012, I was doing 40 clients a week,
Hmm.
and it broke me. It really did break me. I couldn't do it. I was terribly useless when I got to the stage of just I'm taking time off because I was so exhausted.
Do you
It
have kids then?
no,
Yeah.
no.
Okay.
But even right, I got to the stage where I was seeing maybe 15 clients a week middle of this year, and Vanessa said, "Well, up, you're going down this path again."
Wow.
Because there was so much work on, there was so much stuff, there was so many people reaching out for help, and it was just a avalanche or tsunami of stuff coming out, marriage breaking down, people having when you have this great reset for people, everything's stripped back,
Yeah.
everything's taken from you, and that's the thing. So I did a little uh, Instagram thing the other day, which I put up, and it's about that. You have to lose yourself to find yourself, and what's happening right now is everyone's losing themselves
Yeah.
to find who they truly are, and the wealth stuff's a very big thing. And but for me, for clients, so look, I struggled this year. I really struggled. That's what I was saying before. I'm exhausted. That's what I'm looking
Yeah. Yeah.
forward to the end of the year, is because there's been so much on, and we're not um, supermen or super women or super whatever. We just get the same things as you guys, and what
Mm.
we do is we're listening to people's problems all day and trying to find solution. It's quite draining, and
So what do you feel like was what was your main thing this year
with
for you? Well, why did you feel that you were exhausted? Like what was it? Was it clients or people wanting something from you?
and
Is that
also a transition about what I was doing. So because the whole thing about seeing one-on-one clients is, do you see them for anxiety or depression or PTSD? And I moved away from that. And that was a really big thing because you lead in and say, I've got some kind of thing, I'm coming to see you. And I've had to start knocking back all those clients, because the fact is, I don't want to see that. I do get really specific now about who I want to see and go, if you want to come and see me, it's a whole transformation. I don't want to see this one part of you. I want to see the whole part.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
want to see.
you're owning your path in a way.
Yeah, because if you want to see me for, like, I've got a PTSD, or I've got some nail biting or something like that, or some kind of bad habit, but that's okay. But as you know, it's the whole lot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
just
yeah.
got a little bit over
That's
over it.
good though. That's good. I
Yeah,
mean, I think that's because I that's how I sort of operate. Like all my clients are long term, and it's like
yeah,
I think I just want them to sort of realize that I don't really want to do the null biting. I want to
no,
I want to get to the core.
yeah,
You know. So that's good that you sort of like did that. For me, it was I don't know, like I lost my mum, and then
yeah,
I lost everything this year.
yeah,
I think I lost all my, like a lot of my real deep friends.
yeah,
Like I had so many fights with people, and I'm thinking, what's going on? Like, and then you start thinking, okay, what have I done? What can I learn? And it was the same behavior. It was the same pattern,
yeah,
and I think that I just realized, what you just said, and that is that people wanted something from me, and when I didn't give it, they weren't willing to participate.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sad, but it's also it makes room for other people.
Yeah, and I really delved into other areas of flow states, and really looking deep into those places where the top 1% of the world operate. Where do these people go? How do these people operate at that level, at that top echelon? What are the things that they do and get to be at the place they want to be at? So, and for me, that was just like, that's where I wanted to play, in that level about, okay, I can
You can do that.
understand all the stuff they do, and I can help people create those states of
Yeah.
ecstasy and flow,
Mm.
and consciousness, and when time slows down, and when you've got so much freedom around you, that doesn't sort of sit here when I'm talking about your nail biting.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, did you have
So
to, besides the nail biting and those things, did you have to give anything up personally? Did you like,
yes,
did you make a
yeah.
decision and go, okay, that needs to go?
Yeah, yeah. And I had to have a really conscious thought about what I wanted to do, and it came back to, I don't know if Lawrence has told you this, but it came back to even my pricing models about what I did and how I saw people and what I wanted to work on, and just go, well, actually, no, I'm in charge here. I'm the one who wants to do this. This is how I want to operate, and this is what I want to charge. And unfortunately, I had to knock back 9 out of 10 clients from then.
Yeah. Well,
But out of
I
that,
think that I think that the baseline for everyone is really about being happy and not feeling that pressure,
yeah,
right? Not feeling that pressure from people or from life. I mean, like you're a dad and you're an amazing dad, an amazing
yeah,
husband. I'm single. I don't know how you do it. Like, like I think that, like, oh my God, how do I get through my day? And I had to look after other people. I don't know what I do.
you and it's a common thing behind every great man is a great woman or other man.
Well,
It's
there's
the
no one here
support
for
behind
me. I like
it.
behind a great man like me, there's me. So what about now the revolution of the people? Like, so what's your take on the if we look at the development of man, right, I do really
Yeah,
feel like we're going through we're going through another change, aren't we? Like as
absolutely.
we enter into AI, right, and that
Yeah,
whole AI freaky fun, whatever it's going to be.
yeah.
What do you think the evolution is being?
Well, and here's the thing. This is the funny thing with people. We're living in a place for the last, for the last 20, 30 years. Things have been quite stable, especially if you live in Australia and you're in a sort of in a certain society, and life has been really, really good for about 20 odd years. Even though I've had,
It has
the
been.
GFC at 2009 that affected some people, but we haven't been really, major issues here, and people got comfortable, and people were, life is going to stay the same forever. And one constant in life is it will always change. There's always been revolutions. There's always been change. Every empire has fallen, right?
Mm,
All the way through history. So history is also cyclical and repeat itself over and over and over again. And we as human beings, we get stuck into this thing about I don't want things to change, but they always do and they always
yeah,
have.
and it's going to be major change. So for people that aren't doing, haven't experienced what you're saying, I think
Yeah,
it is going to be major. So what do you feel is one of the main threads of the change? Like,
definitely
what do you know?
technology. Yeah,
So technology and people are changing through
absolutely
that.
technology, and especially um, around being able to, and this is the thing. If people want to sort of, there's sort of levels of change. So the people who really want to go deep within themselves can get involved in, and this is where say AI virtual reality comes in, where you can sit there and have your Oculus on, and there's actually things now where you can have like a LSD or an ayahuasca or something trip by just putting the Oculus on and watching a virtual reality, and it ends up being similar. If what they're doing through things with Burning Man and all that stuff is that creating these places where people sort of go delve deeper in themselves. But then there's this other part where you're going to have some pretty ordinary things happen to some people because it's the stuff that doesn't work anymore. It's the evolution of stuff, the things that will go by the wayside because it's no longer serving who we are, and we keep
Yeah.
as a consciousness raising who we are through these things. And AI can be a really big benefit to a lot of things, but all you hear is bad, 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 bad.
Well, it's like I think what you said about COVID, right? I think COVID's the apprenticeship.
Yeah,
There are people that adapted and people that didn't, right? Like
yeah,
I'll share with you today. I think I passed it. I put it on Facebook. My friend invented this fantastic AI, and I freaking love it. So what you do is you download it on your laptop on your screen, and the camera reads you, right? And because
yeah,
I'm on the computer all day, then all of a sudden, right, all these birds start chirping, and then the screen turns blue. It
yeah,
just turns blue, and I'm calm, right?
yeah,
And it's just this, the AI actually tells me what I need to do to not get stressed at work.
yeah,
And I see, I love all that stuff. I think that
yeah,
there's nothing to fear. But I think when you said about history, I think everything in history has to have a good and a bad.
yeah. It does.
So the AIs, I think will have to be eventually put into the hands of the wrong people.
They will, and
Like everything in life, right?
we look at and the control of some things of having every aspect. I mean,
Well, think about the evil elements of them and what they can do with war and all that stuff. So like
but they're
they
already
don't have
doing
people,
they're already doing it now through Facebook, Instagram, and that by the stuff that so many people are addicted to this phone machine where it's not about social connection; it's about getting you addicted through an AI who knows every
Mm.
single part of your
All
body
right. So
and your
take
mind.
that right.
Yep,
So the topic is the evolution of
yep.
humanity, and all that. So do you think that we are going to evolve, or do you think that we're actually stepping into? I've gone blurry. Or do you think that we've gone into? Let me just. There we go. Do you think that we're going to go into a prefabricated feeling or being of what we think we are? You know what I mean? Do you think
uh,
that the evolution
yeah,
will continue, or do you think that it's going to be more orchestrated through all this development of AI?
yeah. It will be, and
It's
you have
interesting.
you'll have separate parts. You have the people who really want to remain the human part, and there were people because they'll see the benefits of integrating AI with their life or their being or who they are or parts of their body or whatever, because it's giving them an advantage over something or giving them that's leg up in a way to be more successful or to live for longer or whatever it is, right? So So you'll still have this segregation in life of the ones who, just want the purity of a human being.
Yeah.
Are the ones who push the limits of implanting
Mm.
chips themselves to
I
create
think
a
there needs to
better
be we
way.
need to be careful because there is. I saw something recently that really sort of did my head in, and that is, if you were feeling down or you felt like your life was quite ordinary, then you have submerged yourself into the AI, Oculus world, and then
Yeah,
every day you have to remove those goggles.
yeah,
Those goggles are going to represent depression. I mean,
yeah,
sorry, removing them is going to represent depression.
yeah,
So people could end up using more goggle time than real time,
yeah.
and I thought, my God, how is this going to impact mental health? So, yeah, and the interesting thing that one of my friends works for Google, and you know what one of the number one concerns is with that whole virtual reality world is how do you get people to eat and drink and go to the toilet?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I didn't even think of that.
it was that Asian family. I think the child died where the mother and father were playing some game for 18 hours, 2 days straight, kind of thing, right? And their child had passed away because over a period of time, they ignored over a period of time. Like this is not
Oh,
just that event, but over a period of time that they were just playing games and um, it's yeah, it's it's
yeah.
examples like that
Mm.
happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think would be a simple way to stay grounded so you don't get too consumed with that?
Oh,
Or do you think that like for example, I've gone back to reading books,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so I've removed my Kindle and I'm reading books again,
yeah,
and I'm trying to just do something that is actually tangible, where I can touch it and all that. So, what other things do you think would be a help?
yeah. Bare feet, nature,
Bare
water.
feet, yeah, that's what I
Bare
put.
feet's
This see, this
great.
is this is for you. This forest.
Yeah, so bare feet's great because it gives you connection to stuff. Even walk around the house, just bare feet out in the house to do that. But it's also coming back to the simple things, and this is ripping off the Simon Sinek stuff. Is that what's your why?
Yeah,
And if you keep asking that, and who are you becoming? Because that's a big thing as well too. Because it's not life's not about getting to a destination. It's about who you become on that destination. And there's the question you got to ask yourself every single day: is who am I? Who am I
yeah,
becoming?
I
What am
love
I
that.
acting like? So, because if you're becoming more machine than man, then you're not really human.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
so
about like it's also about again for me, just simplifying everything
yeah,
and meaning it.
yeah.
So that'll take us to the next segue. And
Oh, yeah. Back on one point
oh
there.
yeah,
The thing that you're going to find if you do move into that world is the lack of touch, right? The lack of
yeah.
senses. So the
Well, I
really
heard there's a
important
suit
thing.
that you can buy that makes you feel stuff.
Yeah, but it's not the same as a
Yeah,
human. That's the thing is you can artificially, enhance these senses, but there's nothing like soul to soul
yeah.
connection
You know what
where you
annoys
know your
me?
vibration with.
It's fucking $50 million. Sorry. It's $50 million to go to freaking to the. There's going to be a cruise ship up in
Yeah.
space. It's $50 million. I mean, no one ever talks about the people that can't afford to go will never go.
At least you know if the world's flat or round. Obviously, get rid of that kind of debate anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
there's that balloon. That balloon is 5 million. Have you seen the
yeah,
balloon?
no,
Yeah,
haven't seen that.
it's a balloon that goes into space for 8 hours, and it's attached to a bar, and you just suspend it over there. Then you go
Yeah,
back down. But so
yeah.
Elon Musk, one of them, is creating
Looks a
it's a Ferris wheel. Looks like a wheel, and it's a wheeled hotel
yeah.
in
Wow.
space. But that's
Yeah.
50 million.
Jeez.
50. That's not even including the spaceship trip, which is probably another 20 million. Like
It's
I'm
got
gonna be I'm
money.
gonna be hijacking. That's what I'll be doing.
But going
Um,
back to my touch thing is that
yeah,
it's really important. And as you get more into this other realm, then you get into the whole sexual thing as well too, about having virtual reality sex and like you're saying the suit before, and it's really important to connect with other people and have that intimacy with a person that you do love, and that's really important. So how do you keep
same.
grounded
Yeah,
is to have really strong touch,
yeah,
and that can be just from friends, from hugging, from
yeah.
intimate partners, and that, and to have that, because it's sometimes it's what people will find is that in that world you can just pick and choose who you want, and they'll
Yes.
do what you
Oh,
want. Whereas
you
the
can be whatever you want to be, can't you?
yeah, yeah,
I
you
mean,
can.
that world is it's like they were saying that porn always is the first person. It is like, and you know it's going to be huge,
Yeah, it
right?
could be. Yeah, you're going to wear that whole suit, and it's going to be yeah.
Oh God, like so. Oh, God, I don't even want to think about it. Let's move on. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the evolution of spirituality. And do you think that that word is still appropriate, or do you think that we need to find a new vortex into a different place?
Oh, look, it will change because it still conjures up religious kinds of things where it's this is a belief system as well too. So it will morph into something else where it's not doesn't have that constraint of following that this
Yeah.
is the rules
I
of
wonder if do you
spirituality.
reckon we'll actually fall for like an AI as our, we'll fall for the AI to be like us, our God or our. Do you know what I mean? Like it's there's so
Yeah,
many possibilities, isn't it?
you look at if you look down that place of um, infinite possibilities, infinite worlds, infinite kind of things. There's probably a world just around the corner where that we do worship an AI. So
Yeah. Well, the whole thing that we could do deep fake. So you and I could be fake right now, right? So in that world, we're not going to know what's real. So it is going to be this sort of cosmic thing where you don't know what is real life, what isn't real life. What am I? Where am I? Am I in my goggles or am I sitting in my dirty lounge room? You know what I mean? It's there's all that sort of stuff, and I
yeah.
think spirituality is it is. I mean, if quantum is going to take place properly, it'll take place moving forward.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
you look at what happened with the American elections and how it was a massive psyop as far as you look at the QAnon stuff and everything like that, and Pizzagate and everything like that, and it was a huge, huge psyop to see how you could just manipulate the people very, very quickly and easily, and you've seen that now with COVID as well too, right? So
yeah.
it's a really there's layers to this thing, right? That at the ground level, it feels like you just see it what it is. It's there's a a flu-like disease that's killing people, right? There's so many other different layers to this. It's not funny, and part of it is the ability to control people through fear and all that stuff, and what they can do, and so you saw it. It's just a mixture of a whole lot of stuff. So
Yeah, and I mean the reason why I have got one more question, but the
yeah,
reason why spirituality I think is important is not that I'm afraid, but I do feel something in my gut. So what's your take on what do you feel could happen with China and with this whole evolution that you were talking about with how things change and things develop and Australia has been quite blessed, hasn't it? Really?
it has. But you look at China, and there's a few people in the world that wouldn't mind modeling their future worlds on China because he's got full autonomy, right? If you've got any dissent whatsoever, like you saw the tennis player, right?
What tennis player?
She's there's a tennis player who's very anti-government, right? And basically, she went missing for a while, but now she's come out saying, I'm okay," but she's
Oh,
not really. She's just saying that she is,
oh
right?
God!
Um,
Did they brainwash her or something?
they will, yeah. So so you look at that kind of stuff, and the more power begets more power, kind of thing, and so, you can be very, very careful. There's a few players in the world who actually really like that model, who live in our world, live in Australia and live in the United States and live in the United Kingdom because they have complete autonomy over their population.
Right. Oh my God!
And
You
and
keep going. I'm
so
listening.
we're already we're looking at the things, and you look through the pandemic, is that none of the decisions were made by elective officials. They were made by public servants
Mm.
who were just in there because they can do a job, right? So the whole model of voted by the people for the people is pretty much has was dead and dead long ago, right? So and so there will be a battle on to try and remodel
The world,
way
the
way
world's
things
leaders
were.
and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a few people who really admire what China's doing as far as being able to control the masses, because that model there is complete you know submissiveness to a government body, and so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next 20, 30 years, because you've got the Labor Party is going further left and further green and stuff like that, and where they found the last election they missed out on this their working base as well too, and Liberals come further back towards the centre in some cases, and then you got the far right kind of thing. So all more segregation, but sometimes you got to break the system to rebuild stuff. And that's what I was saying before. Is sometimes you got to lose yourself, and maybe this is whole part of the thing is we have to just lose everything. But
Yeah.
everything has to break.
Yeah. I mean,
Everything has to
I
be.
sort of agree. Like, when we're talking about them threatening us with, the submarine nuclear thing, and they're saying we're a target, all of that. I mean, touch wood that nothing happens. But the reality is that I think you're totally right. We're not here just to glue everything back together, are we?
No, no,
Yeah.
no. And that's the hard thing that people get so stuck in this body that they're so used to this world being the way that there is at the moment because 100 years ago the Great Depression was coming on and stuff like that. They just gone through a world war. In 20 years and 100 years time, kids were living in Scotland because their houses were being bombed and all that kind of stuff, right? So we live in a fairly fairly precious time, right?
Yeah.
So
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 this is
yeah,
an end statement. What would you say to someone is feeling fear?
it's made up.
The fear.
It'd be really questioning about what are you fearful of,
Yeah.
and I'm fearful of this and the government. And I was saying to another thing of the day about really fearing the being locked up and being stuck in your house. But again, there's so many different things as to you look at what Nelson Mandela did. He was stuck in a jail cell for 20 years, 4 by 4, and he quite often said they'll never take his freedom. They never did because his
Mm,
freedom was here, not in
yeah.
his house. And that's the
Yes.
big thing. Again, the good and bad. What we're being taught here is that freedom was taken away from us, but we never really had freedom to start with.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I love that Nelson Mandela thing because didn't he like write his manifesto while he was in prison?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, yeah.
Like so. Really, like it's all if we are in a sort of a matrix. It doesn't really matter where you are.
No,
Yeah,
no.
because like look at me. I'm talking to you in Beaconsfield. That's where you are, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm in Point Cook, and it's like we're in the same room. So
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter how big the room is.
yeah.
I'm in a forest right now. So like
But that's the thing when you say when people come and say, "Oh, I'm fearful of stuff," well, I really question. Well, what is it you are really fearful of? Tell me what it is.
I think people are afraid of the change. I think that whole building things back together is something that's dragged on for a long time. And I don't think people realize that we can't build anything back. This is
Gone.
all new. Everything's a new frontier. Just
Yeah.
pretend, imagine that we're in America and we're all fighting
But
for that bit of land.
but here's the thing, right? It was meant to be this way.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It was really meant to happen this way because there's been so much tragedy, and I get it. There has been horrible stuff happen to people, and people have lost their businesses and all that kind of stuff. But there's always another side as well too,
Yeah. There's always an
and
opportunity, isn't there?
massive opportunity to see something a little bit different for the majority of people, that they've been given a new lease on life, and especially that, as I said before, those guys who used to work in the CBD, or guys and girls who used to work in the CBD, who are saying no now
Yeah.
because they are now realizing that they value their family life a lot more than having to work for a corporation. And what's happening now is the power's gone back to the employees to go, this is not happening.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
that's a really, really good thing that's happened.
Yeah.
And people are looking at their health, their well-being, and there's still some other things on the fringes and all that stuff that people will go, further down the other rabbit hole. But the fear stuff would be, well, I question about what are you really fearful about, and is it true? Because a
Yeah.
lot of it is either made up in your head, external, you can't control it, or you're looking at it incorrectly.
Yeah. Or it's being fed to you by some sort of source, like the
Yeah,
media or something.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, or your whole identity around success is completely up the creek. So that's what you're fearful of losing because it was so tied to external things.
Yeah. Mr. Greg, you're the best. You know how good you are, right? My screen just turned pink, showing me. No, it just turned pink, and that means I'm totally relaxed.
Good.
So it's been blue all day. So thank you
Oh,
for taking the time out. I always enjoy talking to you, and I always
anytime.
love your insights and just you should write a book. I swear to God.
Yeah. I could,
You can, yeah.
I could get my kids, we'll do a pop book, something like that. Yeah, I
Well,
should.
there's apps now. You just talk and they do it for you. It's so much easier.
You see, that's where, I've got so much on my list. There's things I just don't know. So yeah, I will learn something today. So
Well, have a great time and thank you. And this podcast will be out on Monday, and everything about Greg will be listed below because he is our superstar podcaster guest. All right, till next time, guys. See you later. Bye.